anxiety in itself is not dangerous. Our
Okay.
behaviors as a result of anxiety are what are dangerous. In this day and age, we are overprescribing and
Yep.
overdiagnosing people with
I knew
anxiety.
it.
Mhm. In middle income countries, there is a higher level of tolerance of the difficulties of life and facing those head on. So,
This is the I'm Uncomfortable podcast, the podcast for people who want to be okay with being uncomfortable. We're your hosts, Vanessa.
and Melissa.
Welcome back to another episode of the I'm Uncomfortable podcast, where we encourage everyone to be the fullest version of themselves by being deeply uncomfortable and learning from it, of course. We are together today to talk about using anxiety to thrive, which sounds like it doesn't make sense.
I, yes, exactly.
When Melissa first told me about it, I was like, what? So we're gonna get into that, because I feel like I can relate, but like on an unhealthy level, and that's not what we want to promote.
Right.
Right. But before that, we always share what's been making us uncomfortable lately. Melissa, how you doing?
I am covered in bug bites, mosquito
What?
bites. You know, it's that part of the. I thought I was going to get through summer unscathed. I was a very lucky gal in the beginning of the summer. And
Okay.
then it's towards this time of the year, I guess. Everyone is hoping that it's fall, but it's
Oh,
still
yeah,
summer
it's not.
and it's muggy. And
Yeah.
apparently, this past week, the headlines of the news, weather stations were talking about how California and the West Coast was going to feel like Florida. So hot,
Okay.
muggy, humid, which is prime conditions for
Mosquito.
mosquitoes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just funny because I would hang out with we like to hang out in the backyard with me and my boyfriend, and it's usually him that's getting attacked by mosquitoes, and mosquitoes typically go after me, but like I said, I've been pretty lucky so far.
Uh-huh.
And so I would be the one that's like smacking mosquitoes off of his ankles because they're like
Yeah.
ankle biter mosquitoes. But then they all of a sudden were like, "Oh, so you're attacking me? I'm gonna attack you." And now I'm like my legs, my ankles. I was noticing, I
No.
didn't notice them getting me. And then I was at work this past week and I was like, why is my leg so
Itchy.
itchy? And then I looked and I
Ugh.
was like, oh, so many red little bumps. And I'm like, they got me.
They
So
got you good.
if you
You're
see me
done.
scratching, it's because
It's because you're covered in mosquito bites.
I'm covered. But yeah, that's my uncomfy, inconvenient moments that
Inconvenient
has
moment.
gotten me recently.
Whenever I think of mosquitoes, I always just think about Lilo and Stitch and how that alien was like convinced that
Legally,
mosquitoes, yes, were like an endangered species, and like we had to protect them at all costs. And I was like, actually, you cannot.
you
You
know
cannot,
what?
just
I'm
not.
just like, yes, eliminate them. I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
And I
Like, what are
remember
they good for?
I actually like listened to a podcast about mosquitoes and how they are important in the
Are they?
ecosystem because a lot of it's at the bottom of the food chain really because a lot of other animals and lizards and whatever they eat them and I'm like ugh,
Got it. Okay. Well,
yes.
I have Stitch and Bluey with me. I'm channeling that fall vibe, even though it's very much not fall. I refuse every year, and I understand that in some places, maybe it's a little cold, but Starbucks be rolling out their, pumpkin spice latte, pecan, whatever, the fall
All season drink.
flavor
Yeah.
lineup. And I am like, hit me with the raspberry cold brew, raspberry foam
Give me
cold
that
brew.
dragon fruit
Right. I need like a
refresher.
refresher. I actually am not. I'm not ready
But
for fall.
it it upsets me because it comes out earlier and earlier in the year and
Does it? Is this earlier than it was? I complain about this every season, and I
well, I
don't.
just think in general stores, brands, whatever, they're starting to roll out things so much earlier. Like people were seeing fall decor in the stores at the end of July. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's
stop it.
not a lie. That's true.
Stop it. Let me have my hot girl summer. Like let me embrace
Our
it and
neighbors were setting up Halloween decorations, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And then I was like, "Oh shit."
it
It is
is.
like the
Now it
end
is.
of September. Yeah, and that was yesterday, and because I was like walking by, and I was like, "What are you guys doing?" Like,
Yeah.
Ew.
The spooky skeletons at
Well, because
this
it's
house in
hot.
the neighborhood.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, so part of my uncomfortable moment is that I went out last night to celebrate my friend's 38th, 39th
Hmm.
birthday. And several layers of discomfort because I was like, oh, like, what anniversary of your 21st birthday is it? And she was like, wait. And I was like, wait. And it was like a lot of numbers. And I, for some reason, was expecting it to be like 5. No, impossible. Like, that would
It's
make her
good.
26. Like,
Yeah.
and I was like, what? And then I had a moment where I was like, wait. Like, wait.
It was like I've seen it's like those reels where this girl is just like very elegant. She's sipping her drink. She's like, it's just crazy to me how the girls today are turning 25, and me, born in 1992, am also turning 25. You know what I mean? It's just the audacity. How is that even possible? Like, 'cause I
I
am
don't know. Time
also
is weird.
25. Hello.
25 was fun.
I
I liked
liked
it as
being
a number.
28. That would be the age that I would like to stay. 28. If I could
Mm.
choose, you know? It was like not your early 20s and then
Yeah,
it's not your 30s yet.
that's true.
So
That's
it's
true.
like the possibilities at 28.
Yeah. If you're listening and you're 28, congratulations.
Congratulations.
You're Melissa's
You're at a
favorite
great
age.
age. That's my favorite age. But
Well, she wanted to go to the bar and be there by 7:30 so that we could go home by, and she was like, I want to be in bed by 11:30. And
yeah.
I just thought that was so funny. I think I got home at like midnight, no, or like a little, like maybe 12:30, because my coworkers and I stayed a little longer when
Yeah.
after she left. But we were maxed out. We walked over to the next bar. We ordered drinks and couldn't drink them.
Yeah.
We were tired and it was like a lot of sugar. And I'm just like, what? And then I woke up this morning like, ugh, ew, what's happening? And I just
Yeah.
haven't had time to like do anything. So I'm going to self-care myself while we do our episode today because I don't have any other time. I got to
Right.
work after this.
You gotta squeeze in the self-care when you can.
I'm just tired. I know I texted you twice this week that I was dying at work. And I was just like, what? I mean, you texted me. I forgot what you said exactly, but like something about can you go outside and like do like 10
Or like
jumping
two
jacks or like,
minutes. Like, yeah.
yeah,
Just get it out. Like, get the
the stress out. I was like, oh my God, I am exhausted. People have lots of feelings and needs. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
and you're the gal. You're the
Yeah.
gal they go to. And
Yep,
you're like,
yep,
what
yep,
about
yep.
me when I'm exhausted
I,
and have
no,
needs?
no.
Nope.
Yes,
Yeah.
I took a shower. Wow, what a concept. So I get to like brush my hair. It's gonna be amazing.
I know. I
It's
fell
fine.
asleep with wet hair kind of last night, and I like this morning when I was brushing through it, I was like, oh God. You know how like
God.
you're too tired sometimes to just do the
Yeah.
full routine?
Yeah,
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
When am I ever doing the full? What even is my full routine? I need
I
a
don't know
skincare
either.
routine. Somebody save me. I don't know. If I don't figure it out soon, I'm gonna look really bad when I get older. So,
I think you're fine. I think you're doing okay. You're doing the best you can with the situation you got right now.
I bought this brush because you have this brush. But anyways, I digress. And
Aw.
I liked it when you let me use it. I was like, oh, this is a nice brush. I immediately went to Target and bought it.
That's so
I have
cute.
to have
Wow,
it.
what the heck?
Yeah,
I don't know why that like makes me just like, oh, a reminder.
yeah. I think of you when I use my brush.
That's so cute.
Okay,
But
well, let's go ahead and get into the episode
yeah.
because I jokingly told one of my assistant principals when we were doing his one-to-one last on Friday, I was like, yeah, when my life was absolute fucking shit, I was so good at my job because all of that anxiety or like whatever, I would just channel it all into work. I
Yeah.
was like so good. Now I don't have that same level of anxiety, which is great. So,
Yeah, and it's interesting. I the reason why, let's just back up for a second. The reason
back
why
it
I
up.
even put this topic on the table to talk about is because back, I believe in May, in springtime, I attended a webinar hosted by LA County Library, which if anyone does have a library card in LA County, they have a lot of great free resources. One of them that I had discovered earlier this year was that they host author webinars, and essentially they share about their focus area. He has a very great title for this book, How to Use Anxiety to Thrive. And so when I saw that pop into my inbox, I was like, oh, I'm just going to sign up. And it was hosted by clinical psychologist and the author of the book How to Use Anxiety to Thrive. His name is Dr. Rosmarin, and he's a professor at Harvard Medical School and also the director of the Center of Anxiety. So I think he knows what he's talking about.
I didn't know there was a center for anxiety.
Yeah, I forget exactly
What?
when it was founded. I think it was founded just before COVID hit. And so when COVID hit, it was like, everyone's anxiety had spiked. He was literally showing us graphs about how folks that had anxiety prior to the pandemic actually did not increase in their levels of anxiety because they had already been working on it before then, and they had tools in their toolbox. And for folks that were experiencing these signs of anxiety for the first time during this unprecedented, like our favorite word of the era, unprecedented time, they were the ones that were suffering the most with anxiety because they didn't even know how to deal with it. So it was just very interesting to hear from him from both like the scientific and psychologist perspective. But I was most interested in his approach to anxiety. And I think we are very much trained to see anxiety as something to get rid of. Like, we don't want anxiety in our life.
Yes.
But his approach is, rather than trying to eliminate anxiety entirely, which often leads to more struggle, he encourages folks to embrace anxiety, understand it, and use it as a signal or a resource.
That's fair.
So when so I think another key thing that I took away from his webinar was that he said that anxiety in itself is not dangerous. Our behaviors as a result of anxiety are what are dangerous. So, and this is a pretty extreme like sentence to say, but it kind of hit home. It's like, people don't die because of anxiety alone. They die from the behaviors that come from the actions that they take as a result of feeling anxiety.
Yeah, no, this makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And so like this pursuit of eliminating anxiety is, have we ever thought about if that's the thing that's also causing more anxiety in our life? Like, I need to eliminate this feeling, I need to get rid of it, versus addressing or processing through that anxiety. So
like,
I just
in my effort to try to get rid of it.
Yeah, and I think
I'm actually making my life harder, worse.
Exactly. And so I just wanted to talk about this as a concept because I think a lot of what our platform is about, obviously the name of the podcast is called I'm Uncomfortable. A lot of times discomfort comes along with feelings of anxiety as well. And how, like you were mentioning, you have this connection to it and you've maybe used it as fuel. And I too have used it as fuel to do good, like great things in maybe our work life, but maybe not in a balanced way for it to be like healthy. You know what I mean? So I think he lists out a few, so there's 4 steps here to use anxiety to thrive that he lists out.
Okay, hit me with them.
Number 1 is identify. So take a minute to think about what is making you anxious versus ignoring it, and understand that anxiety is something that we have to give thought to, and you do some inner work.
Okay, I think the hard part for me about that is like, what is the difference between anxiety and stress? And are those even different? Like, I feel like we use the word anxiety so, like, frivolously almost, like...
Yeah.
Oh, it's making me anxious. Oh, it's giving me anxiety. And I'm like, Sometimes we have to have that feeling, though, because, like, if I think back to, like, caveman times, like, you need the sense of, like, you're in danger or there's something that's gonna... Like, your body's trying to protect you, right? Protect you and protect your mind. So I'm like, okay, well, what's the difference?
So I'm scrolling through my notes here just to see if there's anything that can speak to that, because you mentioned stress. So in his opening for the webinar, he goes, what if anxiety is a human emotion, not a disorder? The problem is that we are taught to fear it. And when people have stress, when the world is experiencing unrest, for example, Okay. So he described anxiety as a physical
Mm-hmm.
anxiety is a part of the human condition, and it can manifest itself in physical ways. So it's like heart palpitations, difficulty sleeping at night,
Mm-hmm.
do, do, do. And it's on a scale. So anxiety is on a 0 to 10 scale. 1 to 3 is normal levels anxiety, so which is what I think about what from what you're saying. It's like, yeah, in caveman times, we need to have like a baseline level of anxiety in order to function as human beings so that we can look out for dangers when we're crossing the road. Like you have to have some level, 1 to 3
Right.
of levels of anxiety
Uh-huh.
that should be manageable to live your daily life. It's when you cannot, like when you're at a 4 to 6 is kind of like, you're kind of teetering into too much levels of stress
Yeah.
and anxiety. And 7 to 9 is what he describes. If you describe your anxiety levels from 7 to 9 or even
Mm-hmm.
10, that
Mm-hmm.
warrants like psychotherapy and or medication in order to deal with it. So I think it's both it's a human emotion that's normal. It's just when it gets to certain levels that it needs to be addressed. You
Got
know what
it.
I mean?
Okay. I'm unpopular opinion, of course, but like I sometimes feel like people what's it called? I don't want to say exaggerate, but like maybe exaggerate like the anxiety and use it as an excuse. Or like and I know we've talked about like my own biases about this and like growing up like we also have a whole episode coming up about being too independent, which probably where my bias is coming from as well. But like I don't know, like sometimes it's like maybe your anxiety, you actually just have to do something about it instead of just saying that you are anxious about something and then being anxious. Like,
Right. And I think that's part of step one is identifying it. It's like
mm-hmm.
I think to again, I agree that some people may not even really know the proper definitions of what it means to have an anxiety disorder. And maybe they're undiagnosed. Who knows? But I think there is like what Dr. Ross Marin is saying here in this identify section is that you need to be able to pinpoint it as something that's happening in your life, and
Mm-hmm.
you need to realize that, yes, like to what you're saying, Vanessa, there is some inner work that needs to be done. So one, identify that it's even happening to you, and then number two, as part of doing something about it, is sharing it. So once you've
Yeah.
identified it, share it with someone else, whether it's a coworker that you trust or friend
Mm-hmm.
or even your therapist. Like put it in an email, but share it in some way that's not you
Something.
just
Yeah.
internalizing it so
Mm-hmm.
that you can get it out there. And share it with someone, make sure that you're sharing it with someone that validates, who can validate you in what you're feeling. And that's part of, that's a hard thing for people to do sometimes, especially like, you referenced the a future episode of being hyper independent. Like I
Yeah.
have, you know, we can get into that, but like I've shared here where it's like I have had issues in the past of resisting asking for help or sharing because you don't want to be a burden, XYZ.
Yeah.
So it's when you share with others of what you're feeling, especially with people that you trust, and showing that you can be vulnerable, that's
Yep.
a great step to you being able to use it again as a tool to using anxiety as a tool to help you. The third and fourth things here
Mm-hmm.
are embracing it. So keep exposing yourself to things that make you anxious and learn to continue to push through. And I think a lot of people, I like this second point here for number three, is to let your anxiety ride. A lot of people want to stop it in its tracks. And
Yeah.
again, that can cause, from what he's saying, more anxiety because you're
Mm-hmm.
just trying to, like any emotion, if you're continuously trying to bottle it up and hide it and
Yeah.
eliminate it, it's just going to boil over.
Yes.
And I think, yeah, I like his perspective of the fact that it's something that you should feel it, and you need to experience it more to understand how you can cope and reassure yourself and build a toolbox of things that you can do to help soothe yourself versus trying to avoid it. Because then it just makes it worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it does. I think, and then it explodes. Because I'm trying to think of, like, all the stuff that's happened at work this weekend, like, people's feelings, anxieties, whatever, right? And it's just so interesting to see it manifest for different people in different ways, and how, like, some people will talk about it, will work through it, have coping strategies, and other people, it's just like,
They shut
all
down.
of a sudden, like, they're like, I can't be here. I can't do this. And I'm like, okay, but at some point, you're going to have to be here and you're going to have to do this. And by this, I don't mean this exact job moment in time. I mean, just like in general, like when there's something hard happening, you can't always just run away from it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And then the fourth thing is letting go. So we can't predict. We need to understand. And I think this resonates with me and your experiences in the past of just, liking the idea of being in control of things. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of the times, I think that desire to be in control can make things more difficult for us to deal with. It's like we can't predict everything. We can't control everything. When we accept that, we are giving ourselves room to let what he says here, our true essence, to actually come out. Then we can learn how to deal with it. Being able to pursue things despite your anxiety, instead of using anxiety as, like you said earlier, as an excuse, like something that you're afraid of dealing with. It prevents you from being able to actually see anything past the anxiety of something that you're feeling,
Yeah. Okay, well then I think what I'm wondering about is this idea of, like, using it to thrive, right? Like, because from our experiences, anxiety has helped us to thrive, but, like, I don't know, it wasn't great. Like, I wasn't doing well.
Let's get into, like, our specific examples, because I remember someone asking that something similar to what you were saying. I think earlier too. It's like, okay, cool. I'm using it to I was the best I ever was at work, career-wise, when I was like
deeply anxious.
Deeply anxious. And I can say the same thing too. I was doing so well at my previous job. But I was like the saddest I'd ever.
But you were calling me from the car crying, like,
exactly.
like
crying under the desk, crying in the bathroom stall, crying in the parking lot, being the last one to leave the office, and it's just like,
and I hate crying.
I know
so
you.
That was hard for me.
So one of the questions that the audience members asked was, how do we sort through the anxiety noise to lead me to meaningful things? Is all of that noise meaningful? And he goes, yes. It's that process of sorting through the noise that you're figuring out what the actual underlying fear is.
Okay, wait, so he said, like, yes, that noise is meaningful. Like, that noise matters. Okay.
Yeah, because it is all of the chatter that's going on in your brain that you need to sit with. You need to actually take the time to sit with and figure out what
that's what my therapist would say. Jillian would always say, like, sometimes you don't have to do anything. Actually, a lot of the times you don't have to do anything. And I would be so frustrated. I'd be like, what are you talking about? I have to do something. And she was like, no, you don't have to do anything. Just sit in it. Listen.
And that is doing something. Yeah. And I know that Jillian has said that too. It's like sitting in it is doing something about it, because we are so wired to find a solution, and sometimes that can lead us astray in that, like, the solution right now, especially if it's a fight or flight response situation, you want to fly. You want to, like, get away as far away from that feeling as possible. So the solution right now is to distract, and then you just get used to distracting and not actually addressing the baseline issue. You know what I mean? So I just thought very interesting, but I don't know I don't know what else, but I'm just trying to read some of the other notes that I have here, just to spark some maybe thoughts from either one of us.
I'm like waking up, I'm reflecting on this, and I think if I really think about the times that I was the most anxious and working through it and trying to sit in it, I did learn a lot about the stuff that makes me deeply uncomfortable. And we talked about this in our outgrowing people's places and roles episode, but just sometimes you have to feel super fucking uncomfortable before you are motivated to act. And if you get to that point, you might be thinking like, I'm so anxious, I'm so anxious, I'm so anxious. So maybe that is an example too of using anxiety to thrive, because once the anxiety pushes you to actually make a change, then hopefully it hits in the direction of thriving. With that, yeah, I mean, that's how it worked out for me. So I'm sure for many others.
Yeah, I mean, I could say the same when I've actually self reflected on why I may have avoided something or participating in something because of like my tendencies to have like social anxiety about stuff. I tried and think, I mean, because I'm an overthinker as well, but so baseline, I'm going to be thinking about it regardless. But, you know, when I have really thought about what is, and asked myself, what is the real fear here? It's really helped me to go into social situations next time
Okay.
knowing that and being able to tell myself that it's okay. And if it ever gets to a point in this social situation, which it rarely ever does, that's what anxiety does. It just kind of like tricks you sometimes. But again, the tool that I have developed is okay, let's push myself in this situation. Let's do the thing that's making me scared or making me feel anxious. And if there's ever a point where it's too much to handle,
Yeah.
then yeah, let's pull back. But let's at least push myself to experience it, like he was saying in one of the points. You need to you need to expose yourself. That's one way to use anxiety to thrive, because if you don't continue to force yourself to experience these anxieties,
Yeah.
these things that give you anxiety, then there's no looking past it. There's no moving past it. And
Oh my God. Yeah. Like you're just going to be stuck. You're not
you're just
growing
going
at
to be
all.
stuck. You're going to hit the wall every
Yeah.
time. And so,
Damn.
I don't
That's
want
true.
you know what I mean? So,
Yeah. You're right. I only have the coping mechanisms and tools that I have now because I had to work through the anxiety, and it took me sometimes a long time to work through some of them, years, right?
yeah.
But like I learned a lot
That's
of
a good
things.
point to bring up, is that like, cool, this people listening will be like, cool, I have this list of things now.
Yeah.
My anxiety is gonna just leave me, you know?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
gonna be
yeah.
this quick, easy thing to do. But no, it's something that takes time, and that's okay. I think that's all part of the experience
Yeah.
of just life in general, because you don't wanna, like, there's no quick fix to things.
No, but people want a quick fix. They want my it's so funny. My business operations manager, before working at our school, he used to work for like Target for operations.
Okay.
So he's very just kind of no nonsense. We got to get things done, which I very much appreciate. It speaks to my soul very deeply. But he kind of is just like, you just got to do it. You just got to push through it. And it's so funny because he struggles with why do people have all these feelings? Like, they do. And I'm like, dude, yeah, people have feelings, but we got to accept the feelings with the process. Like, this is a lot. And then we can
This isn't a
encourage
conveyor
them.
belt. This is not a factory.
He's just like, fucking do it. Get it done. He's like, I don't understand. And it made me laugh too, because he talks about instant gratification and how he feels that sometimes when people have requests or people like have an idea, or like they just want instant results, instant answers, instant, like instantly being better at the thing that they're supposed to do. But
Yeah.
like you have to kind of go through the
You have
work.
to take the time to do that.
You
Yeah.
have to kind of, sometimes you got to suck to get better. One of my first year teachers, he was sitting in a meeting with us talking about how it's been going so far, and he like started tearing up, and he was like, wait, like was y'all's first year also like this hard? And I could not stop laughing. All of us laughed, not made fun of him laugh, but I was like, dude, my first year was a shit show. I had a kid banging their head against a wall. I didn't know what to do about it. I had no skills. Who
Yeah.
put me in this classroom? Why did anyone think that I could be in
All the
charge of
questions
children
of doubt.
fresh out of college? Like, now that I look back at it, I'm like, this is insane. The fact that anyone let me be in a room with children is insane. But I did it, and I had to struggle through it, and it was deeply uncomfortable. But, like, you can't, like, run away from it all the time.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. But there's no instant gratification when it comes to working through your anxiety. And I think that's also what I struggled with too, because I just wanted it to be fixed. Let's just fix it. How do I fix it? How do I fix it? And Shirley was like, you can't just fix it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe using the anxiety to be better at my job wasn't such a terrible thing though, because
I don't think so. I think it
a lot of good came from it too.
Exactly.
You know?
I think this topic connects with another topic that we had already discussed. Was, I forget the title of it. It was, oh yeah, why you have to push yourself to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Why that's important. Because
it's important.
Again, we don't want to be suffering. Like, obviously, would not recommend crying in the parking lot, under the desk, all those things. Wouldn't recommend. But there is a value to the discomfort and the struggles and the anxiety that you feel, because there is opportunity to learn from it. It's just what I think I appreciated, the thing that the Dr. Rosemarin kept saying and reiterating, is that I'm not telling you to just suffer through debilitating levels of anxiety. If you cannot literally function on a day-to-day basis, that is where you need to seek additional help. And I found a question here that was asked of him, and speaks to a question you had earlier. Is like, anxiety is now being a lot of times used as an excuse by a lot of people. Some people are exaggerating it. And he agrees. He says, in this day and age, we are overprescribing and overdiagnosing people with anxiety.
I knew it.
In middle income countries, there is a higher level of tolerance of the difficulties of life and facing those head on. So what he's talking about is that there are folks in other countries, like developing countries, that are living with so much less means than we are.
Yeah.
And if we were to drop ourselves into that situation, you would be anxious. How can you live like this on a day-to-day basis? But these people are happy because they are able to tolerate higher levels of discomfort around them, because that is all that they've known. You know what I mean?
Okay, but this makes me think about, and I know multiple people have brought this up in conversations with us, and we like listen to them, whatever, about like my parents. My parents don't understand what I'm going through. My parents aren't like as tolerating of talking about feelings. We talk about that when we talk about like our immigrant parents. And when I think about the fact that like my mom literally had to leave a country, find a new job in this country, assimilate to this country, move to different states. Like, she's from an island. Like, you know, like, she had to deal with snow. She was like, what the fuck is this? You know, my poor grandma was like, that's why they moved to California. My grandma couldn't handle the cold in New York. But when I think about the amount of stuff that she had to go through, I don't think that her tolerance for anxiety is that high. So that's not, I feel like when I was growing up, it wasn't a thing where you could dwell on your feelings. She wouldn't like bash me for having feelings, but it wasn't a thing we dwelled in. Like, you just like, okay, like, what are you gonna do about it?
We're getting through like this is normal. This is like what we do. This is there's no need like
to dwell
to dwell in it,
suffer. Okay, and then I think about, oh my god, I feel like such a boomer when I say something like, when I think about like younger quote unquote people. I don't want to put people in a bucket, but like I know the common complaint, at least, is that they don't want to do anything past their job description, like literally on paper what it says, or they don't want to like go above and beyond. They just want to come in and do the bare minimum and get a paycheck and blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, that's an exaggeration of what they're going through and experiencing. But I kind of see that perspective of like older people also. I mean, their time was different and they fucked a lot of shit up for the rest of us. But they also were just kind of like, go, like, do it, live. Like, everything for us is so much easier. Like, I can tap my phone to pay for something. I can access a therapist via text message on my phone. There's so many things that have been designed to make our life easier. And I think that's why there is that space for people to, when they are now uncomfortable, even for 2 seconds, they don't want to be uncomfortable. Even though you and I clearly are supporters of being uncomfortable. And being uncomfortable sometimes means being anxious and dealing with it and like learning from it.
Exactly. He describes, I mean, it's a result of what he called, and I've heard this term before. It's called affluenza. So affluent, pulling from.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Yeah, affluenza. It's like the more wealthy you are, the more well off you are, the more likely you are to struggle with mental health concerns. So because you have that mind space, time, everything, like resources available to you, like at the palm of your hand.
Well, what is it called? The hierarchy of needs, right? Like when all your basic needs are met, that's cool because now you get to focus on all these other things and like think about life and what you want to do and blah, blah, blah. But like sometimes also that space, I think, provides space for you to just like not want to be uncomfortable.
It's like I'm too like, it just doesn't appeal to my lifestyle. I do not want to be uncomfortable. But I suppose the layman's way to say affluenza is more money, more problems.
More money, more problems. I was just thinking about that. I was like, that's why rich people create so much drama for themselves.
They're sometimes the saddest people because they have nothing else to really
like, what are you working towards?
When you have that much money, you just don't.
I don't like really feel bad for them, but also.
No. But, but I guess, I don't know. How should we wrap this topic up? I think it really
we don't. Everyone just sit in it. Goodbye.
I think the takeaway for me really was to let myself sit in it more, because like all of us adults that are just out here trying to live life, there's a lot of things going on, a lot of really heavy things going on a lot of the time, and I think we tend to want to distract, and that's okay, but I think we also need to give ourselves the time, just as equally, to sit in it and really feel it, because that's when we can get to the bottom of where the opportunity lies, in terms of where we can start helping ourselves use those feelings in a positive way, whether it is to, let's say, something in the news affected you and now you're feeling anxious about the climate or whatever it is. How, like, sitting in it and feeling it is going to hopefully lead you to action, using it as a way to maybe, I'm going to volunteer at my nearest beach cleanup and try to help in the ways that I can. So it's just, I think that would be my takeaways. Like, I think we need to give ourselves time to just sit in it sometimes. We're always so go on to the next thing, that we are forgetting that to care about this in the process, And this, for those who are just listening, I'm pointing to my noggin.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, we invite you to sit in it with us and to work on it with us. And we're also growing every day, every moment, trying our best, being uncomfortable. Go forth, be anxious and thrive.
Go forth, be anxious, reflect and thrive. And if you aren't already following us on Instagram, please do so. Again, all of those links that we mentioned, our merch is there. Everything that you need from us is in that link in our bio. So be sure to be following us there. Want more of the I'm Uncomfortable podcast? Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at imuncomfortable.podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and join our Facebook group, the I'm Uncomfortable Club, to gain early access to our episodes and exclusive content. We're available wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening.